toss to White. He's in! Patriots win the Super Bowl!
Welcome to Patriots Touchback Podcast.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Patriots Touchback Podcast. It is Season 3, Episode 27, and we are back because the New England Patriots not only get another W, that puts us to 5-2. For the first time in franchise history, we've won 3 straight road games. We've got more to dive into this game. Obviously, Drake Maye with another outstanding, stellar performance. Keyshon Boutte as well, just getting more and more impressive by the day. And finally, it took us 7 weeks, but the running game was finally available. And a certain running back, well, has he got over his fumbling issues? We've got a bit more to talk about. We've got Kieran on board. Nick is back with us after his coming off IR. So it's good to have you back, mate. Everyone, make sure you smash the like button, Gronk spike the subscribe button, tell all your friends, follow us on social media platforms. Make sure you follow the podcast on Spotify and on Apple as well. And yeah, let's crack on with the show. Kieran, Nick, how are we doing? How's your weekends been?
Good. They're like we said before, they're enjoyable again. You know, we actually look forward to watching a winning team.
I don't sit back in my chair now with like a worried look on my face and biting my nails, thinking, "Oh God, is Drake going to turn the ball over?" That's now gone out of me now. I know now. Every time we're on the field, I'm like, "Yeah, that's my quarterback. That's my quarterback." I feel so comfortable with what he is doing. The Patriots 31-13 victors over the Tennessee Titans. Now, this game was downplayed so much by the Patriots players, and more so by Mike Vrabel as well, saying that it was an interesting game, not an important one, even though it was against his former team, who he got unceremoniously fired. And he came back and chose vengeance in this game. It's great to be at 5-2. I didn't expect us to be 5-2 so far. The way we're performing so far, we're knocking teams out, and it's something that I've not seen us do in a very long time. But it's great to see, and we're undefeated on the road. So it basically means we're we're going to be battle hardened when it comes to playoff contention. The way we're situated right now. Kieran, we'll start with you. We'll start with Drake. 21-23, 222 yards, 2 touchdowns, passer rating of 135.9, a QBR of 96.3. Another clean and another brilliant performance from our franchise QB. What did you make of Drake's performance?
Yeah, it was another pretty flawless performance, wasn't it? He set the record for completion percentage in a game, something that Tom Brady didn't do in his 20 years of the team. Has now gone multiple games over 200 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers, and a pass rating of over 135, which is the first time that's happened in franchise history. Yeah, I did think we'd be 5-2, and I was confident of Drake taking a leap this season with better surroundings and with Josh McDaniels. I don't think any of us probably foresaw this coming, like to the fact where Drake is playing almost flawlessly and putting himself in the MVP conversation. Like we said last week, not sure he is going to end up winning it by the end of the season. But like I said, it's a huge positive for us that we're even having that conversation in the first place, that he's playing at an MVP level. Obviously, there's a bit of context. We've played against some pretty shit teams this year. But you can only beat what's in front of you. And we're doing exactly as we need to. And things are going exactly to plan so far.
So far, so good with the way it's all panned out. I mean, he made some some very nice throws as well. One of them obviously being the touchdown to Keyshon Boutte, the 39-yarder, which was an absolute doozy, to say the least. Good player as always. And in this game as well, I'll also do a big shout out, a big mention as well to a receiver that we've talked about a lot. Who thought, is he really a part of this offense? What does he do? He's getting a lot of snaps here, but doesn't seem to be doing much. Matt Collins actually came up with some pretty good catches in this game. Third down conversion as well on the sideline, that was brilliant from him. And I just think Drake is starting to feel out the players that he's more comfortable with. Obviously, Diggs again had a bit of Diggs still had a good game, but not like I think what we're seeing with Diggs is we don't necessarily need him unless it's literally break glass emergency mode. When we need him for a third down, when we need him for like a third down conversion or basically for a first down. We haven't seen him in the end zone. I haven't seen him in any red zone drills. It just always seems to be like we're going to throw to Boutte, we're going to throw to Douglas, we're going to throw to Henry, we're going to throw to Austin Hooper, who absolutely mossed his corner on that touchdown drive. It just looked like the way Maye's not scared about going to his receivers. The one connection he still hasn't got right now is Kyle Williams. And when eventually Kyle Williams gets that connection with him, that's going to add another layer on top of this offense. It's going to make it even more of an issue to deal with. Nick, what's your take on Drake? How's he performed? We haven't seen him for a few weeks. So what have you made of him so far since the Bills game?
Yeah, I mean, just to say, you had in your opening monologue there, it's the first time in franchise history. It's actually the third.
Oh, okay.
The Patriots did it in 61 and 85 because I made that mistake as well. I thought it was the first time ever, and then I actually went and looked and I found out it wasn't. But 1961 and 1985. But in the modern era, if you think about, 85 wasn't exactly recent 40 years ago. It's safe to say that, certainly recently it was that's the case. Kieran stole one of my Maye facts actually. Drake Maye becomes the first player in the Super Bowl era to have a game with 90% passing completion, 200 passing yards, and 50 rushing yards. I mean, is this the same guy that we were watching last year? That everyone was like, "Uh-oh, have we bought a dud here?" I
didn't think so. I don't think we bought a dud. I just think it was Drake Maye and there was nothing else around him. No receivers to throw to. The line was shambolic. The running game was McDaniels has made a. I think you got to tip your hat to Vrabel, tip your hat to McDaniels, and also tip your hat to Doug Marrone as well, because he's coaching that O-line as well. So that does actually have to help.
Let me just mention as well another coach in there, in Todd Downing, who I think has done a great job with the receiver room as well. Because yes, there's a few additions to it, but he's developed the receiver room very, very well. I want to add, as we're on the point of stats, just for a second, I've literally seen this. It's posted yesterday, but I've literally just seen this pop up. Patriots wide receiver Keyshon Boutte is the first Patriots receiver since Chris Hogan in 2017 to record 350 receiving yards, 20 receptions, and 4 touchdowns for the team throughout the first 7 games of the season.
He's making some noise now, Boutte. I said last year, if there's one receiver that I think would stay on and actually develop and actually kick on with a competent offense, it was Keyshon Boutte. He would have been a first round pick had it not been for his off the field issues and his injury. So
career high 4 touchdowns now. Last year he only got 3.
So
career high 4 touchdowns in a season. I did bring a Drake Maye question to the group if you'd like. Drake Maye joins 2 other quarterbacks as the only QB under the age of 24 to have at least 100 passer rating and 200 passing yards in 6 straight games. Who are the other 2 QBs that he joins?
Under 24.
What from the Patriots, or is this
No, any QB. 2 QBs under the age of 24 to have 100 passer rating at least and 200 passing yards in 6 straight games.
Josh Allen?
Nope.
Okay.
Stroud, rookie year.
Nope.
Andrew Luck.
Nope. Fast guess each. Come on. There's one obvious one right in the game at the moment. Mr.
Mahomes.
Everybody loves him. Patrick Mahomes is one of them.
Jaden Daniels.
No, Dan Marino.
Right, yeah, cool, that makes sense.
So I
He's
found
in good
that
company
question today, but
so he's in very good company, but I say also as well. I will go on, Nick.
That's the kind of the point, you know. We look at, and you say about the coaching and everything else, but we look at what we were getting from him last year, and then you look at this year, and it's chalk and cheese, and that's not just down to the coaches, that's down to him as well, but that's down to the change that Vrabel has brought to the franchise. You know, he came in that first episode of Forged in Foxborough. He came in and he said, "I don't expect you guys to trust me now, but I expect you to be open enough to allow me to earn your trust," to that effect. You know, and it seems like every guy on that roster is willing to go the distance, as the Disney song says, and just like do what needs to be done, because that's the second game in a row that every single side of the ball, offense, defense, and special teams, have all contributed. And that's what we want. You know, that's how you win games. That's how you win. That's how you win Super Bowls.
No. Well, yeah. Well, let's not punch above our weight just
no,
yet.
I'm not saying no. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying it's got, you know, we're going to win the Super Bowl. But what I'm saying is we are moving in the right direction. What we are seeing is everything you want to see.
Yeah, I mean, it's obvious we're moving in the right direction. I think it's there said for itself. Just to go through the other receivers who had their say on it. Matt Hollins only had 2 catches, but they were for the big 3rd down conversions, for 49 yards as well. So his longest was for 27 yards. That was a good one. Hunter Henry, 4 catches, 33 yards. Demario Douglas, 3 for 17. Austin Hooper, 2 for 11. That ended up being a touchdown as well. Stephon Diggs, though, was the busiest of all. 7 receptions, 69 yards, an average of just under 10 yards per catch. So Diggs is slowly creeping up on that as well.
Diggs is on pace for just shy of 1,000 yards. If you look at it, we're not quite at the midway point of the season. He's sat on 465 receiving yards
with 0 touchdowns.
With 0
touchdowns.
He's basically doing a Trey McBride from a couple of years ago. We had the most.
Oh, please don't do that
without a touchdown. But yeah, he's been productive without getting in the end zone. But what's been good about that is that Keyshon Boutte is getting in the end zone quite a lot off of a lot less targets. So it's kind of working.
If this was Diggs from like 4 or 5 years ago, he'd be bitching on the sideline saying, "Why am I getting the ball in the end zone?" That sort of thing. I think his trip to Houston probably mellowed him out a little bit, knowing because obviously he had the likes of Nico Williams, he had Tank Dell. He still had a lot of young receivers out there. So actually he had to be the grown-up in this situation. And he's doing the same again over here in New England with Drake Maye. He's still getting the ball, but he's not screaming of, "Oh, don't keep pinning me in the end zone." Go to Keyshon Boutte, go to Hooper, go to Henry, go to Pop Douglas, you know.
I think he realizes. I was going to say, I think he realizes as a player with his injury history and his age, I think he realizes he cannot do everything himself anymore. And he needs, you know, I think he's beginning to realize that his role within not just the team, but within the NFL, as within the game itself. I think he's realizing as his body changes and as he recovers, slower, I think he realizes that he's got to adapt and he's got to change as well. So, there's probably a multitude of factors there, but he's certainly doing what he needs to do, because at some point you're going to take your eyes off Diggs because he's not he hasn't scored a touchdown. Right. Okay. Well, we'll double up on whoever. At some point someone's going to take their eyes off him and he's going to have an absolute barnstorming game, but while they're not, and at the moment, while they keep giving him a man and making him work for every yard, that's fine, because somebody's going to get open.
And also the Titans were still playing a lot of single high safety. They were still trying to stop the running game, but this was the one team I thought New England would be able to assert the run on, because, well, they can't stop the run. Let's be real. There's us trying to actually get a running game going in one game, and then next week they're going up against probably one of the best rushing team in the NFL in the Colts, and Jonathan Taylor comes to town. Good luck with that one.
I think Diggs referenced it himself. Like, he said that Mike Vrabel, he doesn't know how he's done it, but he has made Diggs buy in. Like I feel like the culture that's been instilled and the leadership that's now in the team that was missing for the last couple of years has come back. We've got new leaders now. There's no one really left over from the Belichick era. Diggs has bought into his new role. He's become a great leader on the team. You're seeing these pre-match videos of him like firing the players up, like the old Devin McCourty job used to be, or Matthew Slater used to do that. And like, yeah, they're all in this together. Like, I think you see the togetherness and the culture in the video in the locker room after the game, when Drake Maye took it upon himself to hand Vrabel the ball and saying about, we're glad you're our head coach, we love you, coach, things like that. Like that, the buy-in that Vrabel has got in such a short amount of time is fantastic, and that is going a long, long way.
It makes a whole lot of sense. And it's not just the fact it's leaders of men. Mike Vrabel is a leader of men. Stephon Diggs is right now acting like a leader of men. There's levels to this, and Drake is now in a really good position to thrive and succeed, and he's just blossoming right now. Remember, he's only had 2 interceptions so far on the season. The way it looks right now, he could have maybe 7, maybe 8 picks come the end of the regular season. Well, we hope he doesn't have any more interceptions, because obviously it will just be clean pockets and clean touchdowns all the time. I mentioned as well about the running game, which we have struggled all season long to get going. Well, we finally did get it going, and this was something that I was not expecting. I was expecting a lot of a turnaround between Trayvon Henderson and Ramondre Stevenson, but it turned out Ramondre Stevenson, we stuck him in as the bell cow. 18 carries for 88 yards, just under 5 yards a carry. He had a touchdown. His longest was about 16 yards. Is Stevenson back, or are we just waiting for him to end up turning into a pumpkin and fumbling the ball again? Because I love Stevenson when he's on his game and he doesn't turn the ball over. He's a hard run. He's a brilliant running back. He really is.
I feel like it's important for him to get some confidence back after the early point of the season. Because you're right, because apart from putting the ball on the ground, he's not a bad player. And, we've seen that since we drafted him in 2021. But, like, there is always going to be a little nagging thing in the back of your mind of, is that ball going to end up on the ground again? But to have a bounce back game like this was really important for him. He's still touching the ball far too many times for me. And that's not necessarily a knock on him. That's more to do with the fact that we have Trayvon Henderson sat scratching his bollocks on the bench. Like, I do not understand what the hell is going on with Trayvon Henderson. Like, I refuse outright to believe that this is an ability thing, because we have seen it. We saw it at Ohio State. We saw it in training camp. We saw it in the preseason. This guy is dynamite. And yes, it hasn't happened for him yet. The run blocking could be better. He hasn't really seen any holes and blown open. We're still waiting for that moment to come. But the talent is undeniable. I don't think we're using him right. We're running downhill far too often with him. And Mike Vrabel was asked after the game, like, what? Because Travion Henderson had 2 touches in this game. 2 touches. Played 9 total snaps for a second-round pick of that ability. I don't get it. But Mike Vrabel was asked, like, why is Travion Henderson not playing? And he said, well, like, Ramondre Stevenson obviously played really well in this game, so we didn't want to take him out. Ramondre's a really stout pass protector. Okay, fair enough. Travion Henderson has struggled in pass pro this year, which was supposed to be a real positive coming out of college. But I watched Jahmyr Gibbs last night for the Detroit Lions. They're not asking him to pass protect. They bounce him to the outside and he goes off on one. Like, they get him involved in the screen game. They fire him up on wheel routes. We saw that in preseason, that Drake Maye was hitting Travion Henderson on wheel routes. Where have they been this year? Why have we not dialed any of them up? Like, we are not playing to Travion Henderson's strengths. And as a result, we're just like seeing his playing time diminish because they're expecting him to do things that I don't think he's built to do. And it's just baffling. Like, you've got the 38th overall pick sat on the bench, who is a good player, and we know full well he's a good player. And for him to touch the ball twice in this game against a team that struggles against the run, I just think that is insane.
It is.
I know. But we said a couple of weeks ago that. Sorry, Carl. We said a couple of weeks ago when Stevenson was having his issues, we said you've got 2 options. You either take him out and risk him being despondent, or you keep playing him and you play him into some sort of form. And that's effectively what Vrabel has done. Vrabel has kept him in the team, kept playing him, and hopefully now he is back and playing well and he has been played into some kind of form. I don't think Henderson's lack of play time is the biggest disaster in the world. I respect what you say, Kieran, but I also think that further down the line, when it gets tough, to have a running back who's fresh and hasn't got the yards on the legs as you go into the second half of the season, I think that's possibly a good thing. So maybe as you get to the halfway marker, as Stevenson starts to tire because he's got all these yards, you can put Henderson in, and he can be the bell cow. So there's a long way to go yet. I'm not sort of panicking yet because we've got another 2/3 of a season to go. But I think, yes, if we get to the end of the season and we're like this, then yes, that's different. But right now, I'm not panicking too much. But I think it is noticeable that Stevenson is back into some form. So I think you just keep playing him while he's in this kind of form.
His run blocking hasn't been particularly great as of late compared to Stevenson. Stevenson's actually improved, whereas Henderson's unfortunately hasn't. And it doesn't help either with Antonio Gibson being out for the season, because what that now ends up doing is we have to take Henderson now out of kickoff returns and put him as the main RB2 and using Efton Chisholm as the kickoff returner, which, let's be real, he runs a 4.7 and looks like, and every time I watch him run with the ball, it's like he's running in quicksand. That's not what he is. He is a slant guy. So I don't understand it, but all I'll say is they elevated Terrell Jennings. We finally got a little bit to see more of him. It was only in the 4th quarter. It was garbage time, so it's not really doesn't really make.
But this is the thing. This is the thing, Carl. Like you mentioned, Terrell Jennings there. A practice squad elevation are technically our 4th string running back behind Gibson and the other 2 we've mentioned, and he had 8 carries in garbage time. Why couldn't have Travion Henderson had those carries? Like, I don't understand it. Like, I do think Mike Vrabel deserves a lot of credit for sticking by Stevenson, and obviously, like Nick said, he's played him into form almost in this game. But you can't, like, to have Henderson touch the ball twice and a practice squad 4th string touch the ball 8 times over your 2nd round pick. Like, I just don't get it. It makes 0 sense to me. And like I said, I don't even like if we do use Travion more, I just don't think they're dialing up the right plays for him. We're not using him as we should be. We should be trying to use him like Jahmyr Gibbs. That's his skill set. He's great in space. If you're just going to run him in between the tackles and he's going to get 2 yards of carry because there's no holes, the offensive line can't blow open holes for him and he can't smash his way through because he's not built like that, then it's just going to continue to look like this. But if you get him in space, if you dial up screens and wheels for him, if you try and do the outside zone runs and stretch plays, like you'll get him going. But like I just don't understand how you can only give him 2 carries in this game, particularly like in garbage time. Like, if the game's won, just let Paul Stevenson out, give Travion 10 carries and just see what you can do. Like, I don't know how you can have a player of that ability sat there doing nothing on the bench.
What did we sigh about when we were happy when Josh McDaniels got announced he was going to be the OC, but what was the one thing where, oh great, what did we sigh about Josh McDaniels? Screens on 3rd down, lots of screens on 3rd down. Have we seen a screen on 3rd down when it comes to Travion Henderson?
We have not seen many screens at all. And we used to run bubble screens and all kinds of different types of screens all the time with Tom Brady. And when Josh was here before, I've not seen anything be dialed up. And Travion Henderson would be very much at home playing off in a screen game. Like I said,
do you think they're just holding it back a little bit? Do you not think that? I think McDaniels is prioritizing getting Drake Maye up to speed as much as not as quickly as he can, but gradually as much as he can. But I think he's got in the back of his head, he's thinking, right, okay, I'm doing as much as I can for Drake. But now what can I do for the running backs? What can I do for Stevenson? What can I do for... It would help if the offensive line did run block a little bit more. Our run blocking was still not particularly that great, obviously, even though we was doing better. But in the part when it comes to passing out the backfield to block further up the field and take out and go to the 2nd level, we're just not quite there yet. Luckily, it's only 1/3 of the season gone. So there's still plenty of time to try and, correct that situation.
I'm just speculating here, but going back to when Josh was here before and we had Tom Brady and obviously Bill Belichick, you didn't often see these young players get much of a run in their early days. Like you think about like N'Keal Harry didn't touch the ball an awful lot. Like as a rookie, there was obviously a reason for that, but yeah,
I was going to say that's because he's crap.
We actually be PC on this.
Like Sony Michel took a little while to get going because we had other running backs in front of him, like Rex Burkhead, LeGarrette Blount. There have been offensive players over the years where they don't really do anything as a rookie. Damian Harris was another one. We drafted Damian Harris in 2019, probably as a backup to Sony Michel, having just drafted Michel the year before. And then Damian Harris literally played I think he had 5 carries as a rookie and was mainly inactive. Then the following season in 2020, when Sony Michel completely broke down, Damian Harris ended up taking over as the lead back. And then in 2021 and 2022, he had really good seasons. I feel because this isn't just happening to Travion Henderson, this is happening to Kyle Williams as well, because Kyle Williams is barely doing... I hate to use the phrase barely doing anything, but he's not being given the opportunity to do anything. So I wonder if that's almost a throwback to them days. Like Josh is old school. He's been ingrained in that Belichick way, like where he doesn't want to basically throw all the rookies in and give them as many opportunities because he prefers to lean on the veterans and give the rookies time. Like that could be a reason why, but we're winning games, so it's almost not as important. Nick referenced that. Like he said, it's not, as big of a deal. We are sat at 5-2. We're having a great season, but you would like to see more out of these two, considering the investment you've got in them. And they're good players. And it is still confusing as to why they're not touching the ball as much.
Yeah. I mean, we are still in October. I mean, when it starts getting, I've always stated, as soon as it gets towards Thanksgiving, that's when the weather starts turning colder, nastier. It's not very good. It's horrible to catch the ball. Well, when it's being stunned by the quarterback, that's when you start running the ball more. And I generally do think, okay, they're using Ramondre Stevenson a fair bit right now, but I just wonder, they thought, okay, we're going to use Drake to throw the ball. It's going to be this, that, and the other. This running game, I think, will kick on eventually, and I think Henderson is going to be a small part of that as well. I do. The minute we finally see that outside zone run, and he breaks, and he beats that, and he beats the second level player, then you're like, okay, Josh, okay, now it's another layer added to the offense. Now you got to try and defend Stevenson on the inside. You now got to try and defend Ramon. You got to try and defend Henderson on outside zones. You got to try and now have eyes in the back of your head because Drake Maye might take off. By the way, Drake Maye had 8 carries and 62 yards. He was the second highest rusher as well. And we will get into his giving it up when it's time to give up surgery, because I was fucking annoyed about that.
Something Kieran said then about Josh McDaniels and the lack of screens. Josh said when he rejoined the Patriots, and he had that interview with I can't remember whether it was in house with Patriots media or whether it was out of house, but he said about how in the time away from the game since getting sacked from the Raiders, he talked about how he was able to look at what he was doing as a coach, not necessarily as a head coach, but what he was doing as a coach and what other coaches were doing. And the timeout allowed him to evolve his coaching style and what he's going to call and the way he's going to do it. So I'm just wondering, I might be putting 2 and 2 together and getting 22, but Kieran talks about a lack of screens. Maybe that's something that Josh has sort of evolved in, and that, looking at what else is going on in the league and doing this and not doing that and whatever. Maybe he's just decided that, less is more sort of thing.
Maybe that is the case. Maybe it's the case. Drake had a bit of we had a bit of a scare watching this game. Chief among which was Drake Maye. He had 8 carries in this game. Only 2 of them he slid and gave up. On one of the carries, which he got taken to the ground, he banged the back of his head off the turf. A little bit of a shake of the head. One play later, that was it. He was in the blue medical tent for concussion protocol. I say this right now. When I see quarterbacks run, just in the NFL in general, it doesn't worry me as such. All I know is, have you got the smarts? Have you got the common sense to know, okay, the play's up. Give it up now. Slide. Just give it up now. And I feel like Drake has not quite learned that. Now, later in the game, he was starting the last 2 carries. He did give himself up on both occasions, but it always just seems like to me he's trying to go that I want that extra 1, that extra 2 yards, those extra 2. I would rather you just give up the play. And if it's like 3rd and 2 or even a 4th and 1, just go for it on 4th down. I would rather give up the down. I would rather give up that play than then have the quarterback go out for the rest of the game and maybe out for the next game as well. Drake needs to learn how to give himself up when he's running. Josh Allen had that issue as well when he first started. Now he knows when he's got clean space. He knows there's a defender coming. He slides and he slides and gives himself up.
Yeah, he does. He does need to learn that. I mean, I feel like I was quite quick to jump on it in the chat the other day that when he did hit his head, as much as you don't want to see that, and it could always be bad, it didn't look like he hit that hard. And we were saying in the chat that looks like just standard procedure, that he comes out for one play, gets evaluated, and lo and behold, he came back in. But it didn't look like a real nasty, like, head goes flying back, smashes the ground. Like, it wasn't bad, but yes, he does need to, because the next time that happens, it might be bad. So yeah, needs to protect himself better, but thankfully that wasn't a bad one, and you could tell it wasn't a serious one.
That actually leads into a question I had. In garbage time, should Maye have been taken out of the game earlier?
Potentially,
because he was taken out that game very late. That game was already won.
What time was that left on the clock? I'm about to bring something up here, which will probably disclaim your argument. I think you know what I'm going to bring up as well.
I can't remember, but I just thought there was the play, the first drive before he came out for the rest of the game at the end. I thought he could have come out a drive earlier. That's where I was. I just felt he was left in just a few minutes too long.
Yeah, I think it's a good point you bring up, because yeah, the game was won late on. You know, I feel like kind of after Cam Ward doing whatever the fuck that was with the ball, like, you know, had some Lurpak on his hands or whatever, like that was absolutely horrendous. That's one of the worst air fumbles I've ever seen.
It wasn't even the fumble; he just slipped out of his hand. It just slipped out of his hand.
But yeah, we could have taken him out of the game, and like, especially as, you know, credit to Josh Dobbs, because, you know, he is what he is, but when he had to come in, he made a crucial play.
It was 3rd and 5.
On 3rd and 5 with a free rusher, and he made the rusher miss and picked up the first down with a great throw. Now, that, I think, like they said this on the Pats Chat podcast, like, this is why, like, sometimes having an experienced backup does pay off, because if that had been like Joe Milton, or, you know, an inexperienced, you know, young guy or a rookie or whatever, you know, what was his name, Ben Waldridge, they probably would have panicked and taken the sack there. But Dobbs, you know, sidestep, made the free rusher miss, picks up a big play, and at that point the game was really tight as well. Like, you know, the Titans were still in the game at that point, so like Dobbs made that big play. So, you know, you probably wouldn't have had a lot of qualms with him coming in the fourth quarter and seeing the rest of the game out. Especially, it's normally in garbage time, you just run the clock down anyway. So yeah, I think that's a good point. I think you probably could have.
So it was 3 minutes.
Yeah, sorry, I've got it. I've got it here. Sorry, I've got it here. We took over the ball with 5:47 in the fourth remaining, and we ended up punting on that drive. Tennessee then gave us the ball back during an interception, and then we saw out the game in our next possession, which Drake Maye was in. So the play we had before that, which was the one we ended up punting, that was the one that I felt Maye could have come out of that one. He didn't need to be in that one.
At what time?
Because that was a score.
How much time is that left on the fourth quarter?
I think that was 5:47. I just looked.
Okay, I'm about to debunk your argument right here, right now. So
okay, right.
All right, fair enough. So say 5 minutes, just so there, say 5 minutes ago left in the fourth quarter, right? We're up by 18 points. So we're up by relatively 3 scores. The New York Giants were also up by 3 scores, and with about 6 minutes 35 seconds to go in their game, they had a 98.7% chance of winning that game, and they blew it.
Giants, that's different.
Sorry, Big Blue.
Then New York Giants, you cannot apply them to this rule. That's
yeah, and
that's like saying the Jets.
And as much as I don't massively rate the Denver offense, like they're still better than Tennessee. So yeah, I don't think Cam Ward was getting anything going in that. But I think it's a fair argument to say that Dobbs could have come in late in the game. But yeah, we saw that game out pretty well. Aside from the slow start, they didn't score a single point in the second half. So we seem to have this tendency of where we're asleep for like half of the first quarter and tend to give up points, and then everyone sort of wakes up, and then we end up battering them for the rest of the game.
That leads me nicely onto, there was something I think I clipped up. Where was it? Here we go.
I was about to say, Kieran's on form today because everything he says I've already got written down, and I'm about to make my point, and then Kieran just waltzes all over it and goes, "Yeah, I'm going to have that."
Sorry,
no,
Nick.
I've got down here. It's all right. I've got down here. The defense needs to start quicker. We settled down after the first 4 Titan drives, but by that time they'd already scored 10 points. We need to come out of the blocks quicker on defense.
30th in EPA plays, dead last in success rate, and 30th in explosive play rate. That's in the first 3 drives. And then the rest of the game, we were ranked 3rd in EPA, we were ranked 10th in success rate, and ranked 8th in explosive play rate. So basically, as soon as they got their touchdown, that's it. We locked them down.
Yeah, the wake up call.
And I think we're still waiting for Gonzo to kick on because I think he's still trying to get over his hamstring injury.
Yeah,
maybe
but
that might be the case.
Deep touchdown was Woodson.
That wasn't his fault. That was
and then Jones just couldn't recover. Like
that was Woodson falling on it. That was Woodson falling on his ass, and that was Marcus Jones just got lost in coverage.
Yeah,
that is the same play. That is the same play from last week when Pop Douglas got that touchdown on the Saints. Exactly the same play. Go and watch in parallel. They are exactly identical.
It says something about Gonzalez that the commentary team didn't say his name until the 3rd quarter. Yeah. The Titans were so scared of Gonzalez, they kept the ball away from him. They didn't target whichever guy that Gonzalez covered. They did not target because.
Why do you think Chris Olave? Why do you think last week then Chris Olave was lined up everywhere around the field except one-on-one with Gonzo because they know he shuts you down.
And that's what I'm saying. If your number 1 corner doesn't get a mention on commentary until the 3rd quarter, he's either having the best game of his life or just teams aren't going anywhere near him.
He should be seen and not heard.
A bit harsh, but okay.
I know it's a bit harsh, you know what I mean.
But as a result of that, Craig Woodson and previously Jalen Hawkins and Kyle Duggar last week in the game against the Saints, they are being exposed because teams don't want to throw on the outside to us, and they can't because of Davis and Gonzo. So they're going straight over the middle, and Craig Woodson has been absolutely lit up a couple of times this season. I still think he's a promising young player, but the safety play has been a bit of a concern for me. Like it'd be an area that I would address in the summer, and it does look even stupider by the week that we let Jabril Peppers go, because I still think he'd be starting on this team. That is a bit of a worry. But on the case of safeties, Mate Mapu, since he's converted from safety to linebacker, has actually looked pretty damn good. I think I saw a stat the other day that in the final 2 drives or the 4th quarter or something, he had 7 tackles and a pass breakup. Like,
yeah. Boss man's in the building. Big up DJ.
Maybe Mapu sticking at linebacker is the long term. He's been all right.
So Martin Mapu had 8 total tackles, 6 of them were solo. So you mentioned Christian Gonzalez hardly got mentioned. He was tied 2nd in tackles. 5 total tackles, 5 solo. Obviously, Milton Williams had 5 of them as well. And for the first time in God knows how many games, the Patriots front 7 actually got to the quarterback this time. Not just pressured him, actually got to him. Milton Williams gets a sack. Kayvon Chason gets 2 sacks. A good game for him. Harold Landry got a sack on his former team. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Am I missing someone? Who am I missing? Is there someone I'm missing? Oh, and we only got 4 sacks, even though ESPN have come out as 5. Fucking useless bastard.
Yeah, I think it was 5
anyway. As well. So 4 sacks. 4 sacks on the day there for that. So, but we finally got home. We're finally getting home.
The 3 major off-season additions there in Landry, Williams, and Chason all got on the board with sacks. I did say on our previous show on Friday night, Carl, that I bet you Landry gets a sack.
You did say that, actually. Well done.
Yeah.
Well done for doing that.
But Keyshon, I'll tell you what, like Keyshon is going to get a bit of dollar this off season. Hopefully,
He is, but I'm not gonna be disrespectful to Keyshon because he's been a good addition to us. But I just feel like we need more.
Yeah, we do.
I just feel like we need
White's
more.
given us nothing. Like Keyshon would be great as the third guy. Like he's doing well enough as the second, but like he would be great. Well, arguably probably the best number 3 rusher in the NFL. But we do need another main guy off the edge to support Landry because Keyshon Boutte, like genuinely at this stage, I know that the Bengals supposedly will want, as in the trade for Hendrickson, want a young player and a pick. I'm offering a 4th or a 3rd and Keyshon Boutte for Trey Hendrickson.
I'm offering him a 3rd and Keyshon Boutte.
Yeah.
Sorry, I am.
I would offload Keyshon Boutte before you have to pay him. And if you can get Trey Hendrickson opposite Landry with Keyshon factoring in, Barmore, Tonga, and Williams in the middle, that is a phenomenal front 7.
Unfortunately, someone below us here doesn't want to trade any capital.
Huh?
Well, is Gilmore available?
I was thinking
Samuel Jr. available?
I was thinking that would allow you to get a cornerback in the first round of the draft next year.
Well, we're stuck at 26, and we're looking at.
I know, but there's no cornerback worth picking in the first 15. I reckon. You've got two big needs there: an edge defender and a cornerback. You can't get them both in the first round. Now, if you're picking second half of the round, there are some good cornerbacks. So if you can pick up your edge defender in free agency or via trade, that makes it a lot easier.
So 26. So what does pick 26 become? What would get the safety? Even though the only safety is Downs, I think
going to be available then.
But Downs is going to be in the gun.
I think you go right tackle. I think you go right tackle, and you plan for not having Moses much longer.
A lot of people saying that Bryant is. A lot of people saying that Bryant is going to be the new right tackle for next season, but
I don't think you can really trust that without seeing it. I would go and try and get a right tackle.
Someone's on drugs.
Yeah, Crosby's going to go through the roof.
Boss man's on drugs. I'd go for Crosby, but the hit is big. Yeah, no, that ain't happening. Would I love Crosby? Absolutely,
Nick,
absolutely.
Just on the draft at the moment, did you see the Vanderbilt guard that absolutely fucked up 2 passes?
I want him. I want him.
5 seconds.
I want him. I want him. I want him.
To be fair, if he's your left guard, you slot him at left guard, put Jared Wilson at center. Like that could work. But that kind of player I can see playing for Mike Vrabel. Someone who's just nasty.
He would put a new meaning to the F up the play. Statement. Yeah. Something that does tie into this with our front 5 on the offense, pass protection. Something I wanted to bring up.
Oh,
we need to get better. We need to get better at that. Maye was sacked 4 times. Twice of those were on 3rd down. 8 times Maye suffered pressure in under 2.5 seconds. Look, if a guy can't get open and you've got the ball in your hands for 3 seconds, I get it. Chances are you're going to get pressure. But under 2.5 seconds, we should not be having our QB suffering pressure 8 times. We need to get better at defending the pass. We need to get better at protecting Maye when he's in pass plays.
I think this is where Ben Brown might come in back to left guard in this game against the Browns, because Wilson had that much of a bad game. I was watching like, oh, you're missing your assignments so badly here. Will Campbell also gave up a sack as well, but the last time he gave up a sack was week 1.
I don't think they will to start with, because I think they'll want continuity on the offensive line.
True.
Wilson did give up 3 of the 4 sacks, which is a bit of a concern. But yeah, like I feel like if he struggles early in this game, he could get replaced in the game. Like I think that could be a possibility. But with him being a rookie, and they'll want that consistency of having the same 5. I don't think they'll be too knee jerk in trying to replace him. But it just makes you wonder, like, whether, I mean, he was a center in college, right? And, you know, a very athletic center and tipped to be very good, but he is technically playing out of position. And I know on the interior offensive line, there are a lot of similarities, but I feel like you can get away with being smaller as a center than you can as a guard. And I feel like that's been exposed a little bit this year. And to be honest, like, Garrett Bradbury hasn't done a lot wrong. So the chances of Wilson playing center this year are pretty slim unless there's an injury. So that's why, like, do you look long term to then put Wilson back at center and look for your left guard?
The potential of that is it is there. I just feel like Wilson, he needs to be on his P's and Q's, because it's not like he's going up against any edge defender at NFL. He's going up against Miles Garrett. And I think we don't need to talk about Myles Garrett because he's just a freaking monster. Double team him all you want. He somehow finds a way to get through. So he's going to have to be on his A game. So is Will Campbell as well. Will's going to have to be on his A game as well.
Yeah, it depends where he lines up, I guess. But yeah, they're going to have to be alert. He's going to have to see a lot of double teams. You're going to have to get the tight ends to chip. Like, it'll be a real tough matchup. Like, because it's not just Garrett. Like, the Cleveland defense is stacked. Like, you know, one of my favorite players in the draft this past year was Carson Swessinger, who's looked absolutely awesome at middle linebacker so far this year. Like, you know, they've got a lot of talent on that defense. I still think you can probably get at them on the back end a little bit. Like, although I do think they won that trade with the Jags. Like, getting Tyson Campbell over Greg Newsome, I think was an upgrade. Yeah,
that's a stout bit of business. I was watching the Jags game this weekend, and Newsome was shit. I'm not gonna lie.
Given the Browns' run game and how good it is at the moment, the fact that the Patriots are the only team this season not to give up 50 yards to a single running back, that says it's force of nature to immovable object this week, because if Judkins comes in running hard and we're not giving single running backs more than 50 yards, something's got to give.
Yeah, something does have to give. But it won't be us, because I trust this defense to stop the run. The only one I'll be because we're going to have two stout runners in the next 2 weeks. We're going to have Quinton Junkins this week, and then next week we've got Bijan Robinson. So we're going to have to be very, and then if that all falls off, then we got Bucky Irving at the Tampa Bay. So but that's passing though. That's a different level of little fish. Even though I believe Mike Evans is now out for most of the season. Now he's broken his collarbone. Stupid tit.
I feel like the one thing that plays into our favor a little bit for this coming week. I know obviously we'll touch on this on Friday, Cole, our Browns preview show, but the Browns offense pretty much at the moment is Judkins and Harold Fanning, and that is
it's got the attacking power of a water pistol.
Like, Dylan Gabriel, I think, had 50-plus pass attempts a couple of weeks ago, but still only threw for under 200 yards. Like, that's terrible. Like, if that game is literally won if you can pass protect and you can stop the run. But we'll get into that Friday anyway. And
for anybody that's alert to our previews on a Friday night, you will come and see us on Friday night at 9:00, because we do have our preview show, the Dogs of Cleveland preview, with my very, very good friend Ollie from Hurdle the Line and also from Midnight Sports as well. UK Browns. Find him on X and also find him on Instagram as well. So make sure you check us out at 9 p.m. on Friday night for that live show. And obviously when it goes to podcast, that will be out on Saturday morning. So make sure you go check us out for that. I want to deviate away or something, because as much as we can turn around and say, Tennessee, they're a bad team, this, that, and the other, I do generally am going to feel very, very sorry here for Cam Ward. Because I feel like not Tennessee, not the Titans in general, I do feel like they do have a quarterback that I think they can develop, and I think that can actually flourish in the later years. But right now, he had the same issue as what Drake Maye had last year with us. No offensive line, no weapons, literally the weapons They have none. They have none. They had Calvin Ridley. He's out injured. They're relying on 2 rookies and 2 special teamers to play receiver. That's not going to help. And they got a Conqueror at tight end. That's not going to help Cam Ward. So whoever comes in has got a major job on their hands to get this Tennessee team up scratch. I feel so. Cam Ward, I actually thought the first quarter, I thought he did really well, but it did peter out in the end. Well, he had 25 of 34, 255 yards, 1 touchdown. He did throw an interception, which was a bad one to say the least. He had a pass rating of 92.2, which is all right, actually, if you think about it. But he had a QBR of 19.4. That was most due to the fumble and the interception as well. Average passing of 7.5 yards per pass. So as much as we could say, yeah, New England looked like blew out the Titans, I thought out of everybody, Cam Ward actually did all right for what he was able to do.
Well, he started well, and then he had the terrible fumble, and it kind of unraveled from there. And then he threw the pick, it does scream similar to last year in terms of not a lot of weapons, not a lot of O-line, poor coaching. So there is obviously hope that if they continue to put pieces around him and get the right coaching hires in place, that he can kick on. I wasn't his biggest fan, to be honest, coming out of college. I think most people knew that this year's quarterback class was not great. But yeah, we'll see what happens with him. Carl, can I just bring up something I saw online yesterday?
Go for it.
It involves David Andrews, actually. Someone called into the radio show he was on and basically said, we need to stop getting carried away because we've beaten 3 bad teams, 1 mediocre team, and a decent team in Buffalo. Before we get carried away thinking we're going to win 12 games, we're going to go to the postseason, we're going to win the AFC East. Let's calm down. We haven't beaten anyone good other than Buffalo. And David Andrews just turned around and said, that's not the point. The point is that Patriots fans are enjoying watching winning football again for the first time in a few years. It doesn't matter who they're playing, they're winning. The enjoyment factor is back. It's been a few bad years where we've underperformed. We've won 4 games the last 2 seasons. We've been way off it. The entertainment value has been way off. The crowds at Gillette have dropped. We've been completely out of contention. So the main point is that we are now back to being entertaining to watch. We're winning games. And he said, more importantly, you referenced we've not played anyone good apart from Buffalo, but we were losing these games the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
These are games that we were losing the last few years. And now we're not just winning them, we're starting to really put our foot down on these teams. So that shows the progress. And I thought that was a really good point raised by David Andrews that, yes, people can easily get carried away and say, New England are going to be a playoff team. I think we probably will end up being a playoff team as a wild card. I'm still not convinced we're going to win the division, but I feel like we can be optimistic and enjoy what we're having now because it's the first time in years that we have got this, and we'll just see where it takes us.
What I would say is this, okay? It was like me trying to be a true Patriots fan here, or trying to be a homo or anything like that. I'm going to look at the next 3 games. Browns, Falcons, Bucks. If we get to the end of week 10 and we're 8-2, I will then stick my hat in the ring and say, yeah, we're winning this division. That Bucks team could be the one that stops us in our tracks. But then after what the Lions did to them last night on Monday Night Football, without their best safety, without their best corner, they made the Bucks made light work of the Bucks. The Lions did, and I don't think the Lions' defense is as good as ours. Not even close.
I think if you look at we have 5 wins on the board as of now, right? We still have to play the Dolphins again in Foxborough. We still have to play the Jets twice. You'd think we're going to win all 3 of them games. That puts us at 8 wins. Right, the line going into the season was 7.5, 8.5, depending on where you are. Right, so that's at 8 wins. We have to play the Bengals without Joe Burrow. We have the Browns this weekend. Falcons is you could quite easily see that
I'll
going.
be confident saying we're beating the Falcons. I'll be confident to say right now I think we're going to beat the Falcons. So the only reason why I say that is because if this was in Atlanta, I'd think we would struggle. What I've noticed as well when Atlanta play on the road, how ironic is it? They're called the Falcons, yet they play better indoors than they do outdoors.
Yeah.
That's strangely weird. That's strangely geographically weird.
I would still have us favourites in that game, but it's one of them. Like it could be a coin flip. Tampa Bay is going to be tough.
Just play man coverage when Penix has got the ball in his hands, because he's just going to throw. He's just going to always throw to Drake London. And guess who's going to be on Drake London? Christian Gonzalez.
You don't know what you're going to get out of Baltimore because, yes, Lamar's probably back by then, but their season could be dead and buried to the point where they're out of it completely. We've already beaten Buffalo once, so we could beat them again.
We can do it again. I feel
the other game is the Giants, and the Giants is a bit of a wild card because it's a primetime game, and I know obviously they're 2-5, but they've got enough about them to give us a little bit of a scare. Dart's looking pretty good. Scatterboo, love Scatterboo, even though he's probably going to be retired in 3 years' time unless he stops smashing people with his head like a rhino.
So basically, Stone Cold Steve Austin's wrestling career got cut short.
Yeah, so that could be one, but there's enough there with Dolphins, Jets twice, Browns. There's enough games on that schedule to
get 10 wins, minimum 10 wins
to get into the playoffs. So that's why I think we can be optimistic.
I also generally think as well for the next two home games, because we've been on the road for 3 straight weeks. We've not had a home game. That Browns game this coming Sunday, the energy level is going to be turned right up because the fans, we haven't seen them for 3 weeks and they've won 3 games on the road. They know the fans are going to be up for it. That's going to be the loudest Gillette has been in a very, very, very long time.
You're getting $25 tickets half an hour before kickoff this weekend.
You get they're $200 tickets. Yeah. I've already looked on SeatGeek already, and then we're getting ready for a second mortgage.
But with that comes the expectation, because we've just won the last 3. We're looking pretty good, and you've got to back it up against Cleveland at home now. We know their defense is good, but we should still win that game.
We should do, and we'll find out. And we'll find out next. We'll find out next Sunday. Obviously, Friday we'll have our preview show. I don't usually do this because I'd usually say we wrap this all up and that's it. We'll call it a day. But since we are in the AFC East, and since we're laughing at laughing stocks, I'm going to bring something up. And I'll be very honest with you guys. Words cannot explain what you're about to see. If you've seen it, you've seen it already. If you haven't, I'm going to play it for you now anyway.
I've seen this. Come on.
Yeah, he's going to take the snaps this week, and he's going to be our starter this week. And my expectation is that we don't throw 10 picks.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Have you seen the next bit? He goes on about his play because they ask him about Wilson and Ewers and why Wilson's been the backup for so many weeks, and then suddenly it was Ewers this week. And he says, "Well, it was because of the plays we were putting into the game." And he gets his iPad and he takes his iPad or the tablet, Microsoft tablet. Takes his tablet to the press people, and he goes, "Look, these are all our players." And he's there just showing his tablet to the guy on the front row.
So this one here I've got on here now. This was after the game. I mean the titles up the top there just speak for themselves, but just listen to it. This is not the sound of just a man who's about to get fired. This is a man that sounds like he's broken down. This is someone like he's not in this.
There's a lot of guys that will have an important work week because we're not. I mean, if you are negatively affecting the football team routinely, I don't have a choice but to assess a different player, and I have to coach a lot better as well. So we need. We're going to find out who and what we're made of.
We know what you're made of, mate. You're made of fucking paper mache.
Yeah, like he sounds broken. Like they're a mess. They need to gut like the whole thing. He needs to go. The GM needs to go. Yeah, they're in an absolute horrendous situation. And as of the Jets, I don't know if you've seen as well. The Jets, Woody Johnson has basically come out and said, like slagged off Justin Fields completely, and now it's being reported that they're going to make a quarterback change. So that's obviously he's gone to Aaron Glenn, pull Justin Fields. Like, we cannot have this guy out there anymore. So you've got two incredibly dysfunctional franchises nosediving in our division.
And do you know who their changing quarterback is?
Tyrod
Taylor.
It's Tyrod Taylor. Yeah.
Yeah. Not exactly much of an upgrade.
It's not an upgrade. It's a sideways grade. It's nothing.
Nick, obviously you're our resident draft whiz. Like I feel like I was probably higher on Quinn Ewers than anyone else in this podcast. I feel like I'd quite like to see what he can do, because I feel like there's untapped potential there that you didn't quite get out of him in those final year or so at Texas. But like the good moments were really good. So, do you think that he gives them a spark at some point?
I think Quinn Ewers was never going to be a first round pick. He's got far too many issues with his game. His footwork is awful. I'd say, based on what I saw of Tua last week, you can't do any worse by putting Ewers in. But the Dolphins have got only themselves to blame, because they doubled down and gave Tua a contract when they shouldn't have done. They were far too stubborn in the, it was that tank for Tua stuff. And then when they realized actually Joe Burrow's better, they tried to trade with the Bengals for Burrow, and they said no, because they were going to draft Burrow. And so then, to save face, we went with Tua. And even 3 years in, when they realized he wasn't the right guy, they should have just let go. But they couldn't, because they wanted to save face. So they've only got themselves to blame.
Yeah.
So one last thing we'll do. So this has been doing the rounds. I think this has got now close. This has got over 2 million views. Oh dear. For new age Jets fans, oh, I feel so sorry for you.
Cinema, get your thoughts on the game.
I hate this team. I was born into this, and I'm not gonna ever. I'm always a Jets fan, but I hate this team.
Oh.
You know
what? I feel for that. I can relate to that kid, because, I'm sorry, but that was me. That was me 25 years ago with Manchester City. I'm like, I cannot believe this. I cannot believe I'm in this, but hey ho, you never know. The Jets might go on and win a Super Bowl, mate. Don't worry about it.
I mean, if you're the father, this. Hang on.
That's child cruelty. That.
Look at his face. Look at his face. That's just.
I did see one that was taken a video from Tottenham last week, and they were interviewing Jets fans outside the ground, and they said, why do you support the Jets? And there was a couple from New Jersey, and they said, well, we're from New Jersey, so we have to support the Jets. And they
Not
said,
really. You could say you could support the Giants.
But they said although that when we first adopted the Jets that season, the Giants won the Super Bowl, and they turned around. She said she turned around to her dad and said, why on earth were we not Giants fans? I mean, I know the Giants have been pretty shit recently, but they've got at least something to look forward to in the future.
They have hope.
They have hope. They have hope at least. The Jets are just they are so bad, aren't they?
They are really awful. Really, really awful. They blow. They absolutely blow right now. And there is a very good chance that they could probably end up at 0-17
I
because that Panthers game looked winnable. That Panthers game looked winnable. Now they've lost. They're now the next two games.
Bengals.
Cincinnati. I think Joe Flacco will have his way with them, and the Browns. I mean, if you want an ultimate tank bowl in 2 weeks' time, that is the ultimate tank bowl right there. Even though the Browns have won 2 games already, but I
feel silly though for myself. Like
it's the potential of being a 9-6 win to someone.
In 2021, when Justin Fields started to slide in the draft out of the top 10, I was thinking, oh, we're in range here. We were sat at 15. I was like, if we land Justin Fields,
I don't want Justin Fields. I was one call. I didn't want Justin Fields.
Regret us taking Mac Jones over Justin Fields. Had he been?
No, I did. I didn't want Justin Fields due to the fact I was a Wolverine. Fuck Ohio State quarterbacks. So
Kieran, I can't even say a word because I was like, this Trey Lance guy could be the guy.
Please don't make me eject you.
I haven't got a leg to stand on.
No,
but like he's barely played though. That I still think like when is he really been given a chance? Because he realistically played like 5 games for San Francisco, got badly injured, never really got back in, got traded, and has not really played since. So like he's kind of been like a victim of circumstance a little bit. But that whole class is dreadful though. Trevor Lawrence is a bum as well. Like look at that London game this week. Like he's just not good either. Like I think we need to like get off the fact that Lawrence is a serviceable QB because he's not. He's below average.
He's ass.
But did you guys, speaking of Mac Jones for a second, did you guys see the video from the press conference the other day of the 49ers press?
No.
A member of the 49ers press said to Mac Jones, it seems like at the end of these last 2 games, you haven't been moving like too well. And he said, he laughed it off and said, thanks. He was like, do you want to race? Like, he laughed it off completely. Basically, he said like, you don't move too well, and then he took it so well, and then made a joke out of it. But I thought that was really funny. Like that was one thing. Mac Jones, as monotone as he was, he did have like a few comedy moments that I did quite like. And it is a shame that we wrecked him with Matt Patricia because like, I think like in the right system, he's the definition of a system QB. You put him in the right surroundings, he'll be half decent.
Watching Mac Jones at San Francisco now just gives me PTSD. It's like, no, I can't do it. No.
As I've said on Hurdle the Line, you could put a dustbin as quarterback for the 49ers under Kyle Shanahan's system, and guess what? You'd still throw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. It's the most friendly QB system in the fucking NFL. And
honestly, Mac Jones is made to play in that offense. And to be fair, so is Tua. Like, if the 49ers ever acquired Tua, he would probably look really good in that offense.
And remember the shitstorm that 49ers fans created, the fact that Shanahan wanted Mac Jones and not Trey Lance. Just saying. I think we'll end it there. We've got a preview show on Friday night, guys, with Ollie from UK Browns, and also he's my fellow compatriot from Hurdle the Line. So make sure you go check us out on Friday night, 9 p.m. It'll be an absolute doozy. We'll get into it all. Big thank you to Kira, big thank you to Nick. Thank you all for watching. Thank you to everyone that's been listening. Smash the like button on your way out. Make sure you Gronk spike the subscribe button. We're on the road to 100 subs. We're at 60 now. We're 40 off. Can we get to 100 before the end of the season? I think we could push it. Make sure you follow us on our social media platforms and follow the podcast on Spotify and Apple as well. We will see you on Friday night for the preview of the Cleveland Browns game. But I've got one last thing to say to my 2 fellow friends on the pod. Gentlemen, how do we feel at being at 5-2?
Oh, yeah.
See you Friday, guys. Go Patriots.